Hello, and welcome to Healing to Destiny Advances. This is Onyx, and I am slowly introducing her to become a therapy puppy for our advances. And one of the things that the Lord has asked me to start doing, which has been quite a challenge, is to make a third edition of this book that we use with our advances. And I have a tendency to easily get confused when the Lord is leading me in a certain direction. And so it takes me a while. So I'm on my 5th retake of this attempt to do the introduction to this workbook and to our advances. For the sake of those who can't make an advance, the Lord has said it's time to get this out. I will put it on Rumble because they don't edit like YouTube does at this time. It may change over time. I usually announce them also on Facebook, on AnnBuddy, and I'll show you all the other places on social media in the description of this video where you can find me. So, and our team. We call ourselves facilitators. Mostly we're prophetic intercessors that stepped out in faith to offer these weekends. Most of the cost of these events we cover ourselves, and with a little help from others, but especially from the Lord providing for us. And we would love at some point to offer them completely free of charge, but the facilities still cost us something, and the food is now being provided by a retreat center to save us more time for intercession, more time for interaction with our participants and not having to think about the meals. And so there is the cost of those meals. But we offer scholarships and full or partial. So whatever the Lord, if the Lord is calling you to come to one of these events, our next one is January 10th to 12th. Feel free to communicate in the messages here or through the Facebook AnnBuddy, ANN Buddy, like a good friend kind of buddy. That's a pen name that I use for a children's book. And my name is Leanne Sluga. And I'll introduce you to myself or my testimony of Jesus in my life through my names. I've been on a long journey of discovery, healing, and dream restoration, and it started in my 30s, and I'm in my 60s, and I'm still learning that there are lies that I need to renounce to set my heart more free, where the Lord sets my heart free with the truth that I didn't recognize before this. My faithful pup usually sits behind me as I do these, and she's, as you see, she's a very calm, relaxed puppy. Even though she's a puppy, she's actually very calm, very mellow, and very intuitive to the needs of others. Okay, back to my name. Leanne means courageous leader full of his grace. I knew that for a long time, but through a song that talked about changing my name, scriptures that talked about changing my name, I asked the Lord, what name are you going to change my name to? In heaven, I thought. And he said to me, your name is No Mistake. And that became like a nickname to me whenever I came across a situation that seemed frightening to me, or that he was calling me into that I did not feel courageous, did not feel like a leader. He would say, your name is no mistake. and I would take my step of faith in the direction he was telling me, and he did the other 99% every time. I didn't know that every time I did that, he was setting me free from another lie, and I was fulfilling destinies that were written in my book before one came to be. I didn't really understand that fully until I was in my 60s. One day I asked the Lord, what will you do with this shattered heart? I'd been in depression for 20 years before and during the time I was a born-again Christian. And he told me, I will make it into a beautiful mosaic. I didn't know how long it would take. I didn't know that even the mosaic of my heart, restored, would be transformed from glory to glory. And there is a prophetic art section to this website that I have that is in the description box, where I show you some of that journey of healing through prophetic art, which I didn't know was prophetic until I was in my 60s. Then he started helping me understand my middle name better. I knew for a long time that Beth was short for Elizabeth, which means consecrated to God. And he had been showing me that I have mercy gifts since I was very young. And it's what drew me into nursing. And it's what drew me into wanting to help others who were disenfranchised, who were abused, who were struggling, especially those who seemed forgotten or somehow people didn't see them. Those are the ones that he pointed out to me to see. Sometimes the enemy hijacked my vision, and I had a savior complex he had to reveal to me, where I really often had wrong motives to offer mercy to others. I wanted them to see me instead of him. But he has been redeeming. He is the redeemer of everything. Yes, he redeemed the world from sin, but he also redeemed it from everything that sin has contaminated in our bodies, in our mind, in our hearts. And he told me to write this book for that purpose. Some of the other ways that I was given the privilege of using mercy gifts was as I discovered herbs for healing more naturally, the herbs God created for our healing, for our food, healing foods, healing supplements that sometimes we need when our body is weakened by sin and sickness. And biblical counseling training that I received and used in different ministry opportunities. And then most recently, I wanted more training to get into this ministry. I felt like I needed all the training I could get. And Healing Hearts Ministry offered a free seminar. I attended for a weekend. And near the end of it, there was a prophet who spoke this word over my last name, Sluga. She pronounced it Slugga, and she said, I hear the Lord saying, you are my slugger, and I see you on a baseball field slugging this ministry out of the ballpark. I think they thought it was for their ministry, but the Lord had said, no, that's not the one to connect with. Once again, for maybe the 11th time in my life, he says, you strike out as a leader to start something new, and I will bless it. And so that's what we're doing with these advances. We call them we used to call them retreats until someone pointed out, Christians don't retreat, they're always advancing. So now we call them advances. All right, let's see. Oh, the very last name. I have a daughter who's tied and ready to go out. She says, I've waited long enough to go outside. Here's my last word. He's called me a destiny replicator. He says to me that he is not calling me to have followers. Doesn't mean you can't follow me on these social platforms. But what he meant is no followers of me, only followers of Jesus that I teach to lead in the direction of destiny they're called to. You see, we're all called to be leaders in the church. There are no sheep that are not called to some form of leadership. And we will be doing this until he comes in glory. Let me read this to you. I will either be doing this from this side of heaven or on the other side of heaven until he comes for his beautiful bride, the church, his ruling, reigning kings and priests, calling down heaven to earth, setting all creation free as we preach the gospel to every creature in his name for his glory. And so if you are going to be part of this journey, continue on with these videos. Your assignment for today is to simply ask the Lord what he wants you to do about what you've just heard. Write it down. Taking a pen is an act of obedience and an act of faith that says, I believe you're going to speak to me, Lord, and I want to write it down, and I want to take my 1% of walking in that direction, trusting you to do the other 99%. And please share in the comments what you've learned. Thank you.